If you want to see 3,000 horsepower, full-bodied cars, and exciting 8th-mile drag racing action, you should have been with the thousands that witnessed the ADRL Camp Motorsports Georgia drags. But if you missed it, stay tuned. Complete coverage is coming your way next on Inside Drag Racing.
Welcome everybody to another edition of Inside Drag Racing, coming to you from the magnificent South Georgia Motorsports Park in the little town of Cecil, Georgia, located just north of Valdosta, and one of the largest crowds we've ever seen in the Flowmaster American Drag Racing League Series. Now let's face it, this group has already drawn some huge crowds at major race plants across the country, but this time they outdid themselves. There's not a place to sit on this property. Every available parking spot within a mile of the track has been taken, and the fans have come out here in droves to witness what has already become a performance fest, and that's saying a lot for the ADRL's outrageous full-body passenger cars. Now believe me when I tell you that the world records we've already seen in the Pro Nitrous and Pro Extreme categories have been astonishing this year. But who would have believed that some of those records would have taken a tumble even here in the heat of early summer in Valdosta, Georgia? First and foremost, the Pro Nitrous category has displayed parity at this event that nobody ever dreamed possible for that class. The entire 16-car field is spread within 0.05 of a second. Now that's astonishing. Now keep in mind that with no rules really of any consequence for the cubic inch displacement of the engines or the weight of the cars, you would expect there to be a clear-cut leader. There isn't. In the Pro Extreme category, the supercharged machines have unleashed numbers here absolutely unheard of. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's look into Pro Nitrous Eliminator round number 1 highlights. The very first pair of the very first round pitted Rickie Smith in the far lane, the legendary door slammer campaigner out of North Carolina, against Greg Godwin's gorgeous new 63 Corvette in the near lane. How about this drag race? 0.09 of a second between him at the finish line, and Rickie Smith winning on a 409 to 410 count. Then came a race that a lot of people thought would be absolutely dominated by Burton Auxier in the far lane, a past ADRL national event winner, as he took on, believe it or not, Shannon Jenkins' brand new Torco Race Fuels Pontiac GTO, which had nothing but problems during qualifying. Well, never give Jenkins a second shot at the track. A 4:04.7 at 183 miles an hour put him right next to teammate Mike Castellano for the quickest car of the round. And by the way, let's not forget Alabama's Johnny Pilcher in the near lane, ousting Rod Houck in this great hole shot battle, 4:12 to a losing 4:11. But there was at least one stunning upset in the opening round of Pro Nitrous, and it involved the number 1 qualifier, Castellano's brand new 2007 Ford Mustang that had run 4.04 seconds in qualifying. Against bump spot qualifier Tom Slick, Thomas Myers out of Texas in his bright red 63 Corvette, Castellano ran into problems and was forced to shut down, giving the dead last qualifier the ultimate upset of the round at 4.11 seconds. Now, Pro Extreme's opening round was just as exciting, but there was one driver in particular whom you're just about to meet that everybody was watching. First up, though, how about Rickie Smith? Yes, the same that you just saw in his nitrous oxide injected Corvette, now doing the driving duties of Terry Leggett's supercharged 2007 Mustang, and taking a surprising loss against Joe Baker's Florida Willys when both cars ran 3.99 seconds. But what about the guy that everybody was watching? Well, guess who? If you're an ADRL Flowmaster Series fan, then you know the name Jason Scruggs, the man who has reset track ET and speed records at virtually every series stop. But not even this guy was ready for the 3.80 second, 198.6 mile per hour blast in qualifying that led this field by 0.13 of a second. Now, in the opening round of competition, I'm going to ask you straight out. Do you have it set for a 370 at 200?
Well, we did leave it alone. We knew the track wasn't going to be quite as good, but I thought I might could pedal if the tire shook. But actually, we're a little bit crooked, and I didn't do as good a job as I wanted to, but we lucked up and got our lucky brakes, and maybe we took advantage of it.
And indeed, I guarantee you that's what he'll have planned. But remember, when the sun goes down, which it will be just starting to set at the beginning of round 2 of eliminations, that's when this man runs best. That's when that 380 at 198 came out. So indeed, he's got an advantage when the weather cools.
Inside Drag Racing is being brought to you by Summit Racing Equipment, the world's speed shop. And by ARP, the world leader in racing fastener technology. And by Duplicolor, the premium brand leader in automotive paints, primers, and coatings. And by the Masters Auto Expo, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts, coming to Radford, Virginia, July 6 and 7.
The ARP Quarter Mile Quiz with Butch McCall offers you a chance to win a Quarter Mile Quiz sweatshirt while testing your knowledge of drag racing. Brought to you by ARP, the world leader in racing fastener technology.
Quarter Mile Quiz. Hey, John Halliburton of Houston, Texas. Buddy, I sure hope you're watching this week's ARP Quarter Mile Quiz. Why? Well, we're going to answer your question. And the question concerns wheelie bars. You said, did you notice that the guys stand behind the car when they're ready to launch, and they'll measure the distance between the wheelie bars and the ground? You want to know why? Hey, well, why don't we talk to current NHRA Pro Stock World Champion, Jason Lyon, and get an answer from him when we come back. Welcome back to Inside Drag Racing and the ARP Quarter Mile Quiz. With me is current Pro Stock World Champion. Hey, Jason, got a great question for you here on the Quarter Mile Quiz. John Halliburton wants to know, why do you measure the distance between the ground and the wheelie bars before every run?
That is a great question. Well, the main reason is because we use the wheelie bar to steer the car for the first 60 feet of the racetrack. So if something is to happen to the wheelie bar, that measurement is incorrect, then the car will either go some direction other than straight, which is, of course, not what we want. So,
well, straight's good.
Straight is good. Any other direction is not good. So.
Well, you went straight a number of times last year, so I guess you guys know what you're doing on it.
Well, I think so. We got a great crew, and they do a great job of making sure the car does go straight.
Well, thank you for your answer. Hey, John, great looking ARP Quarter Mile Quiz sweatshirt on the way to you. And for all you folks at home, send us your question like John did.
All right, thank you very much, Butch. Ted Jones, along with Kenny Nowling in the booth as we bring you the quarterfinal round of the Pro Nitrous. The defending world champ, Keith Baker, against Randy Weatherford.
Baker with a huge hole shot. He runs it out the back door, wins it at both ends of the track, a 4:08 with a 2:181.
Now here comes Dennis Radford out of Baker City, Oregon, the CUDA against the Corvette of Mike Lockwood.
Dennis Radford, the Illusion's best appearing car award went to him, and he takes round one over Lockwood, a 4:11, outruns a 4:10. Hole shot win for Radford. Looking at the stripe, Ted, that's how close it was.
Wow, can't get much closer than that. A 0.24 to a 0.36 is what won that one. Here's Tricky Rickie Smith going against Thomas Myers.
Thomas Myers runner up at Dragpalooza in Houston a few weeks ago, but not today. Tricky Rickie trying to double up. He gets the win with a 4:06 at 181.50 miles per hour.
Flirting with the threes, Johnny Pilcher out of Alabama going against Shannon Jenkins, the Iceman.
Johnny Pilcher going to get the upset over the Iceman, if you want to call it that. Pilcher, a 4:08 with a 480.52 terminal velocity.
Well, Jenkins had problems, forced the lift right there. Moving on now to Pro Extreme, the supercharged guys, Joe Baker and Jason Scruggs.
Jason Scruggs, the world record holder, can't back it up. Joe Baker with a huge upset.
A pair of 397s. This is incredible. Look how close that one was. 0.57 beats a 0.72 reaction time. Now Travis Swearingen out of Missouri against Brian Dyer from Hillsboro, Alabama.
Brian Dyer, one of the veterans on the ADRL Tour. Travis Swearingen, one of the young guns, and Swearingen takes the win. Another 399 for Travis.
Unbelievable as they run in the threes in the 8th mile right here. Here comes Tommy DeApril against Herman Shepard.
Tommy DeApril had not made a lap in this car, Ted, till this weekend. He's run nothing but 390s, and there's another one to get the win. 398 with the 182 for Tommy.
And then Mike Bell, who drives for Roy Hill, against Quayne Stott.
Quayne Stott, along with John Lynham, the winningest drivers in ADRL Pro Extreme history. Quayne looking for another round win. Not going to happen. Roy Hill's car's going on.
4:05. He doesn't run in the threes. Believe me, they're going to have a problem with Joe Baker when he comes around.
The NHRA Sportsman Spotlight with Bob Fry, featuring a closer look at NHRA sportsman drag racers and their racing activities at different drag strips across the nation. Brought to you by Duplicolor, the leader in automotive paints, primers, and coatings.
David Rampy is one of the most successful drivers in the history of NHRA drag racing. As a matter of fact, this sportsman racer was on NHRA's list of the top 50 drivers of all time, and David has had such great success over the years. To what do you attribute that?
Well, we just try to pay attention to detail, had good sponsorship, and good crew and good cars. And the ability to do it, helps, but you got to have all the good equipment to be able to do it too.
Speaking of the money to do it, more than your race cars, your rig is getting a lot of attention in the pits this year. Tell us about this operation.
Well, it's all kind of associated with Harold Stout. That's where it all started from. I've been associated with Harold Stout since 1986, and he's helped me over the years. He's either helped sponsor me or he's either helped me get sponsorship. And he was going to help me this year, and his wife is Sandy Castell, or Sandy Stout is what I call her. But anyway, he was going to help me, and then so she does music and different things, and so we decided to promote her music this year, and so that's how all this came about.
It's interesting. I know you've been taking a lot of ribbing about some of this stuff. Tell us about what the other guys are saying.
Well, they're all just jealous anyway. That's the main thing. But now a lot of kidding about stuff. But it's a great deal for us, and that's the main thing, is to be able to stay out here and race and try to support Sandy and her music and get her the attention she needs to maybe help her music.
Now, you've already had a great start to this 07 season, and you're looking at the possibility of another championship. Is that on your mind?
No, not really. We're focusing more on just trying to run a lot of national events and, make as much money as we can this year and just go that route and not so much the championship stuff.
Well, David Rampy's running this for Sandy Castile on the side, and he's silk and satin records, but you want to talk about something that's silk and smooth. It's this guy when it comes to racing on the NHRA Tour.
Welcome back, everybody, to Inside Drag Racing and our exclusive coverage of the Flowmaster ADRL Drag Racing Series and, of course, the Georgia Drags. Now, the ADRL prides itself in having some of the best drag racers in history competing on its tour. But let's face it, all sports are lucky to have legends. Here's one of drag racing's all-timers, Rickie Smith, and going into this semifinal round of Pro Nitrous, although the four semifinalists are all separated by only 0.04 of a second, Rickie, I dare say that you might have a slight advantage, if only because of that old buddy of yours experience.
Well, hopefully. I mean, Brett, this track has just run us all nuts. We got so much clutch out of these cars, we don't know any time we're going to go up there and knock a clutch out of it. So it's just been so hot down here. The track's fine, but it's still, when it gets that hot, everything gets gooey.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because just a few seconds ago, the wind made a 180-degree turn, and it's cooling down quick.
Yeah, it's cooling down, but that track's still gooey. I was just up there looking at it. Hopefully we don't knock a clutch out or we don't shake. That's all we can do.
In all the years that you've been doing this, somewhere in Rickie Smith's black book, there's a combination to work on a track like this.
I hope so.
How many races have you won this year? This year has already turned out to be one of your best.
Yeah, we won a lot of races this year. We just hadn't, really put a big one together. Won a lot of races though. So we get by this round, I think we might just pull this one off.
Well, one thing's for sure, he's overdue for that ADRL Ironman trophy, and like I said, when it comes to legends, he's one of ADRL's biggest.
Thank you very much, Brett. And we're ready to go with semifinals. Pro Nitrous on the line. The defending champion, Keith Baker, against Johnny Pilcher. This will be good, Kitty.
It ought to be all-time. Johnny Pilcher, the only man in ADRL history to qualify for every event we've held.
That is quite an accomplishment. Whole shot advantage right there. Slide to Pilcher. Can he hold it up on top end? Yeah, he does. 404-181.
Johnny Pilcher, the only man to qualify for every race, and he's going to his second final.
Now here comes the other semifinal. Tricky Rickie Smith, Dennis Radford.
Dennis Radford and Judy all the way from Baker City, but tricky Rickie Smith, and it's going to be a rematch in the final 10 of our first ever Pro Nitrous event as Rickie Smith gets the win with a 407.
Well, Rickie read the track right. Radford had problems, had to shut down. Now we go into the semifinal round. Pro Extreme, Travis Swearingen and Mike Bell.
Travis Swearingen is Dan Allen, two of the best in the business, but they're facing two of the best in the other lane, and Mike Bell and Roy Hill, but it's Swearingen. The kid is going to the final, his first ever. 3.991 seconds gets it done, Ted.
Mike Bell could not get into the threes. 403. Joe Baker now will face Tommy DeApril.
Tommy DeApril's dream weekend continues. The Sir Thomas Automotive Racing. Guys, Tommy got inked a few weeks ago, Ted. He went down and got his first tattoo. That'll be featured on an episode of Miami Ink. Joe Baker looking for his first ever trip to an ADRL World Final, but he's got a tough customer to get there.
Pair of Floridians on the line. Willis against the Corvette. Given to Baker. 396.
396 for Joe Bakers. He's running threes like they're going out of style. Fantastic job.
The Performance Tip. Professional tips on the latest performance technology available with NHRA Pro Stock champion Greg Anderson. Items featured on the Performance Tip are available from Summit Racing Equipment, the world speed shop.
For today's Summit Racing Equipment Performance Tip, we're going to talk traction control. Now, before you all laugh out there, no, I can't do that with my Pro Stocker, but there's many applications where it is just fine, many drag race applications. Now, I'd like Shannon from Davis Technologies to explain to us just how you can tune your car with these, what kind of benefits we can achieve through these devices.
What you're going to find is a wider tuning window and the opportunity. You've got the traction control in the car. If the tires slip, the device is going to retard the ignition and get the car down the racetrack is the idea. And if you get those passes, you can go back and tune on your car. You're so much further ahead than getting out 300 feet, blowing the tires off and wondering what's going to happen past there. So you get a wider tuning window. You're going to be more consistent, make more passes, which is going to lead to going faster.
I see we also have maybe some different size devices. Let's just say you wanted to keep this completely confidential. You didn't want the people, the competition, to see what you had in the car, whether it be legal or illegal. I've heard there's some tiny little devices maybe slip in your sleeve of your pocket.
Yeah, we've got some devices. I mean, here's the main seller for like the Outlaw 10.5 classes. This is called a TM Drag Pro. It's the size of a pack of cigarettes, but a lot of guys, they want to hide this thing from their own crew, certainly from other competitors. This is an advantage. We've got devices like this that can be adapted. A little more money, a lot more money, but they are available. We've come out with some wireless technology that you can really bury the thing in the car and you tune it wirelessly.
That's incredible. You heard it, folks. For more information on these incredible products, we'll display the Davis Technologies website at the end of this show, or you can go to your Summit Racing catalog.
Inside Drag Racing is being brought to you by Granatelli Motorsports, the mass airflow sensor experts. And by Moroso Performance Products, race-proven Moroso. And by Camp Motorsport, it's not your same old summer camp. It's happy hour finals time at South Georgia Motorsports Park. Pro Extreme Motorcycle on the line. Steve Drake, Cootie Thomas.
These two guys, number 1 and 2 qualifier, trying to pick up the first ever Pro Extreme Motorcycle Iron Eagle here in the ADRL.
Pair of Suzukis to do battle right there. One from Ohio, one from Georgia. Foul start for Cootie Thomas. Went red 437. Will pick up the win at 165.
Steve, the last time you were on the Outdoor Channel, it was one of the worst moments of your life. Heck, it was almost the end of your life. It's nice to come around full circle to the good stuff.
It wasn't that bad. I just fell off at Gainesville in 2004, but
on worldwide TV.
Yeah.
No big deal.
No, it wasn't no big deal.
You've got
kind
this
of stressed out when you interviewed me, though.
You've got this thing down in the 430s, but the bad news is so does everybody else. This is some of the closest racing anybody could have ever hoped this class to produce.
I'm glad everybody could. There wasn't. I think it was one blow up. That's great. We only delayed the race a little bit.
Now the Extreme 10.5, 10.5-inch tire category. Some of the hardest to control and hardest to drive cars on the planet. Mike Hill would face Todd Tutterow.
Todd Tutterow, one of the best drivers in the ADRL. Mike Hill, Teddy bought the car on Tuesday. Took it out to the track, tested on Wednesday. Here he is in the finals on Saturday.
Chevy versus Ford Corvette and a Mustang. Fulton Power picks up the win. 438, 170 miles per hour.
This team hasn't even been together for a week, and this is the first race, right?
First race for
VIP.
First race.
Unbelievable. And now you knew you were getting a good car. I mean, the car did real good in Houston, but you still had to sort things out.
Good job. Yeah, it was a little different here, and Stevie came over, helped us some, and we just kind of took it a little bit at a time today, try to figure it out.
And the Pro Nitrous final will feature Johnny Pilcher out of Chancellor, Alabama against King, North Carolina, Rickie Smith.
Rickie Smith, Johnny Pilcher, a rematch, Ted, of the first ever Pro Nitrous final way back in 2005 in Hattiesburg, Mississippi at the Winter Drags. Rickie Smith was upset by Pilcher in that one. We'll see if he can do it again.
Watch Tricky Ricky. They call him Tricky. He stages last. He's got the whole shot, 0.29 to a 0.35, but it's horsepower time for Pilcher. 402 beats out a 404.
This is Billy Pilcher, a famous racer in his own right. That's Hazel Pilcher. She is a successful drag racer in her own right. And this is Johnny Pilcher, who just won a second Pro Nitrous title, and with a field spread of 0.05 of a second, you know better than anybody how tough that is in this class.
Well, that separates the drivers, that big deal there. Cars are all equal at that point.
I mean, you know as well as anybody that any car in the field can go a 4.0, and obviously you were in the low 4.0s all day long.
Yeah, we worked real hard to keep it there. You know, I mean, the guys at this track are just phenomenal. This place, you can do whatever you want. The temperature didn't matter. Track from 130 to 90 degrees, and it didn't change a whole lot.
I remember the old Pilcher and Pilcher modified superstock cars in IHRA competition. Boy, now he's moved all the way to the top. Joe Baker, defending world champ, trying to do it again out of Milton, Florida, against Travis Swearingen, who has other ideas.
A couple of 41 Willises getting ready to cover the 660 here, Ted. Alan Swearingen, Barb Swearingen, the entire family, and Travis the Kid, like Billy the Kid's an outlaw, baby.
Baker out first. Baker to the finish line first. 395 beats a 398. This is incredible in 660 feet.
Well, I would imagine that as Alex Ortega hands you the heaviest trophy you've won in a good long time, you are the ultimate example of sticking to this. How many years now with this car?
Oh, it's over a year with this car here, just plugging along.
Exactly, and you started out from scratch. I mean, you had help from Joey Martin and a couple other people this weekend, but you have stuck with this thing to get it in the threes. But this is the first time it ever did it more than once or twice in a row.
Yes, it is. I mean, we had like 4, I think, in a row. Normally we'd get one hit and then play with it after that. But
exactly. Did you finally just leave it alone? Was that the case?
That's what we did. Little bit at a time this time. No big changes.
Now, don't mess with it.
No, I'm going to leave it alone.
Absolutely.
Like
the first win is the most entertaining one, and I have a feeling there's going to be plenty more where this one came from. Awesome job.
So, thanks. Appreciate it.
If you'd like information on products featured on today's program, be sure and check out these websites. To learn more about the ADRL, log on to adrl.us. Next week, coverage of the Super Chevy Show from Memphis Motorsports Park in Memphis, Tennessee. Exciting Nitro Coupe action in the quarter mile. Be sure and join us at our usual time, Friday evening and Saturday afternoon. Until then, this is Ted Jones for Kenny Nowling and Brett Kepner. So long, everyone, from South Georgia Motorsports Park.